What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. Late upload tonight. I know I've been doing stuff, birthday weekend, but it's also the week that the National Football League returns. On Thursday, we get the Bears, we get the Packers. So I feel like now more than ever, it's proper time to do my predictions for the 2019-2020 NFL season. So today, I'm going to be giving you all of my divisional predictions. I'm going to be giving you some award winners, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not going to do Offensive Player of the Year. It's pretty much MVP. And then Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then from that, we're going to go through the playoffs and crown us a Super Bowl champion. So without further ado, let's just get right into it because I had to re-record this because I'm getting kind of sick and my voice started cracking like a 12-year-old. So let's get into the AFC North. Here's how I have it shaping up. Now, I will say some of the win-losses, how I did this, I straight up went week by week in the NFL Sim and just predicted who I thought was going to win. So I felt like that way there, based upon matchups, is how I came to these teams' final records versus just having it in my head that like, oh, Pittsburgh, they're definitely going to win at least 10, 11 games and then trying to find a way to justify it. So I went week by week without knowing whatsoever what their record currently was. And I feel like this is an accurate representation of how I truly feel. So looking at the North, I have Baltimore winning it, just edging out the Browns. I mean, it could go either way, but I do think you very possibly have two playoff teams in the AFC North. I think the Ravens going to be incredibly difficult to play against. I think they're going to be awkward. You know what they're going to do? It's just going to be tough to stop it. Now, there are some concerns on the defense. They lost a lot, but they also brought in Earl Thomas, and that secondary should be playing at as high of a level as it has over the last 3-4 years. And then offensively, you got a great running back, maybe the best running back, most talented running back they've had since, I don't even know. So give me Baltimore winning the North. I'm not as high on the Browns as others. I just think, you know, while they did get a lot of flashy new weapons, they're still a first-year head coach. They still might have two of the worst starting tackles in the National Football League. They still have a defense who is really good on paper, but hasn't really started to play like an elite group. Now, I do think they are going to be good. They should definitely be a playoff contender. They're not going to be bottom dwellers. But, you know, I think a lot of people might have the Browns getting 12, 13 wins, going super deep in the playoffs. I'm not that high on them yet. They're definitely a team, a franchise that is trending in the right direction. But right now, give me 10-6 for the Cleveland Browns. I have the Steelers at 9-7. No more AB. Big Ben's only a year older, still bipolar. Plays really good at home, garbage on the road. You know, they lost some pieces on the offensive line. No more Marcus Gilbert at right tackle. So, you know, 9-7, I feel like, you know, between 8-8 and 10 wins is where I have Pittsburgh finishing this year. And the Bengals, bottom dwellers, not very good. And, you know, this is probably good. I think if you're a Bengals fan, you're probably hoping that they suck. You can move on from Andy Dalton. You can draft a good quarterback and get Zach Taylor, the right guy, to maximize his talent from that illustrious Sean McVay coaching tree. Go to the AFC South. We have the Texans, who are all in on Laramie Tunsil. No more Jadeveon Clowney, but hey, they still got a really good defense. Concerns over the secondary, but I still think they're going to be, you know, this is all in. They are the team right now, I think, and you look at the rest of the NFL that has gone all in the most this season, which is kind of weird to say because they did just pretty much get trade raped for Jadeveon Clowney. But I think right now, Houston, they got a somewhat favorable schedule, 11-5. I think they do win that division. Titans at 10-6, outside looking in for the playoffs. They're a solid team, but this is going to be the big question for the Titans is going to be what happens with Marcus Mariota, especially if he gets, you know, 8, 9, 10 wins somewhere in that territory. Is he good enough to give a contract extension, or do you need to look at moving this franchise in a different direction? We got the Jags at 9-7. Pains me to do this. They have an outstanding defense that is, you know, less Telvin Smith. You got Nick Foles. I'm a Jags fan this year, but, you know, they don't have the offense, I think, just yet to maximize Nick Foles. If you watch any games with the Philadelphia Eagles last year, for Nick Foles to succeed, you need a great offensive line. Jags have a good offensive line, not great. You need a legitimate run game. What's Leonard Fournette going to bring? You need that Alshon Jeffrey jump ball receiver. They absolutely do not have that on the roster. So, you know, I have some concerns, but I think Jags are give them another offseason to build the offense around Nick Foles. They'll be better. Colts, big blow with nowhere Andrew Luck. They still have a great offensive line. You know, top to bottom. Still a solid roster, but they don't have the QB. I don't see Brissett being more than a 500 quarterback. So, I mean, 6-10 is still not bad, given the fact that pretty much no other team in the league could start. Maybe Philly, I guess, because we've had, unfortunately, a lot of quarterback injuries to deal with that could win. But, I mean, hey, Frank Reich comes from that Philly tree. Maybe he can get some magic out of Jacoby Brissett and win a couple more games than 6-10. Looking at the AFC East, we have the Patriots winning it. I don't know if they're going to win 12 wins, but I guess when you have to play in the AFC East, you almost get an automatic 8 wins every year. your record's going to be a little bit inflated, but Patriots still are the top dogs. Bills, I made them my unofficial, official dark horse, which the last 2 years, my dark horses, my preseason dark horses, even before preseason, pre-draft dark horses. Jacksonville 2 years ago, the Bears last year have gone on to make the playoffs. I made a bold prediction for the Bills. I think the Bills should be right in that mix for the wild card, but we have them at 9-7 here. Jets 6-10. Still, they're it's a new regime. I think give them next year, they'll be a little bit more competitive. Dolphins, they're tanking. They're just straight up tanking. So, Jets might get a couple more wins because they have Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell should be able to carry them, maybe to a win or two extra, just because he will have some magnificent performances. But I don't think the offensive line is just there yet. Defensively, you lost. You bring in a guy like C.J. Mosley, but then you lose Avery Williamson for the year. That secondary, Jets are a tough one. I mean, they could surprise, but for right now, I think 6-10, I feel comfortable. And then finishing up, we have the AFC West. Chargers at 11-5. Now, we don't know what's going on with that running back scenario with Melvin Gordon, but still top to bottom, very, very complete roster outside of their offensive line. That should win them plenty of games. They had a fairly favorable schedule. Chiefs at 11-5. Andy Reid has this thing. Trust me, as an Eagle fan, I know this. When it's not broke, he fixes it. So, whatever worked last year to perfection, clearly, with Mahomes to make him MVP, Andy Reid's going to change it unnecessarily, just a little bit, not enough for them to suck, but for enough for them to be like, oh, we're not as good as we were last year. You throw in the fact they don't have Kareem Hunt. I mean, they did bring in Shady, but I still have some concerns with the Chiefs having a slight sophomore slump for that, all-out Mahomes era, but they're still going to be really damn good. We have the Raiders at 4-12, Broncos at 4-12. I think the Raiders are going to be bottom dwellers this year. They're still struggling, and maybe Super Bowl or bust for Derek Carr, which is lofty expectations. Denver could surprise. I just don't think Joe Flacco is going to get them much more than 4 to 6 wins, somewhere in that territory. Then jumping into the NFC, we have the Bears at 12-4, Packers 11-5, Vikings 10-6, Lions 5-11. For sure, I don't know about the win-losses, but I think that this is pretty much standard for how we think this division is going to go. I think Vikings are very much going to be on that bubble for playoffs. Packers, maybe all those young pieces on the defensive side of the ball put it up and put it all together to match what Aaron Rodgers hopefully is going to be able to do on the offensive side. And if he can stay healthy and doesn't have a collarbone injury for the 13th time, he's going to be able to carry that team a little bit. They have a nice schedule. And then you look at the Bears. I think Bears, along with another team, could be – I'm not even going to say could be. They'll be my official predictions for the teams that are going to underperform this year. When you look at the Bears, if Mitchell Trubisky doesn't take that next step, there is more questions than ever for that run game. They'll be able to, if Trubisky's not, working out enough, you're going with Dave Montgomery, third-round running back. He's solid, but is he going to give you that reliability that you got with Jordan Howard? You always get 60 to 85 yards guaranteed with Jordan Howard, enough so that you could rely on him for a couple stretches until Mitchell Trubisky could get back into a rhythm and stuff like that. Now, the fact that there's question marks about that run game, question marks about that elite defense, on paper, outstanding defense, even though they lost a couple guys, but no more Vic Fangio. They don't have the puppet master pulling the strings. So I have my concerns about the Chicago Bears this year, but if everything does go well, 12-4. We'll go to the NFC South. We got the Saints first at 11-5, Falcons 10-6, Panthers 7-9, Bucks 3-13. Don't believe in Jameis Winston. That's why I have the Bucks bottom dwellers. Panthers, oh my God, most annoying. If I had to find, since I've been a YouTuber, the most annoying fan base as a YouTuber, without a doubt, the Panthers. They're all in my disc. Oh, they're so annoying. I don't believe in Cam Newton. They could very well. The Panthers are either going to underperform, and there's going to be so many questions about Cam Newton and Ron Rivera, or they're going to make this look a little bit stupid. They're going to get Cam Newton right from that shoulder surgery, and he could be, you might be able to flip them. And the Falcons, I think the Falcons are absolutely ravaged with injuries last season. They're a better team, pretty good schedule. So put it all together. I think Falcons squeak into the playoffs, and then we get the Saints. They're the Saints. One more year with Drew Brees. He's going to be able to orchestrate them and carry them into an NFC South title. Looking at the East, we have the Eagles at 12-4. Oh, I know the eye rolls, biased Eagle fan, but Eagles consensus right now, at least on paper. Everything's on paper. Top 4, top 5 team in the National Football League. They have a very easy schedule. Let's be completely honest. Redskins, Giants. They also play the AFC East, which has the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. Jesus. That's 6-7 wins right there alone. The fact that we're a great roster, Carson Wentz stays healthy. I'm not going to say they're going to be the number 1 seed, and it's just how it happened. They're tied. There's a 3-way tie for the number 1 seed. I think Philly will be a top 3 team when all is said and done, and I think 11, 12 wins. That's right where I had them. Dallas Cowboys on that playoff bubble, much like the Minnesota Vikings. I kind of had them in like the same tier of, if they can get, a little more consistency out of their quarterbacks. If for Dallas, anyways, if Dak Prescott can show that he's not just completely reliant on Ezekiel Elliott, Dallas has low-key a really solid defense. And I think Dallas could definitely push for wild card. Redskins and Giants, these guys here are almost actually interchangeable. I could very well see the Redskins going 3-13 and the Giants going 5-11. But they're definitely bottom dwellers in the NFC East, so not making any waves this season. And then finishing up in the NFC West, we have the Seahawks winning the division with a shiny new toy, Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive side of the ball, and one of the most talented quarterbacks in the National Football League in Russell Wilson at 11-5. The Rams. I said we had two teams. Me and my buddy were talking about they're going to underperform, and then we both said Bears and Rams. That makes sense. Maybe the game plans out on how to beat the Rams. Once McVay's little spiel gets cut off in the headset to Jared Goff when he's trying to help him dissect the defense, then you just audible your defense, give a brand new look like New England did in the Super Bowl, and then Goff, he's exposed. He's exposed a little bit. He's not a kind of guy that can manipulate the defense and stuff. He only gives what's told to him, and when you change that, he looks like crap. And Jared Goff did not play well down the stretch. So, on paper, they should be outstanding. They have one of the best rosters, but I think they're going to struggle a little bit this season. So that's a little bit of a hot take. And that's what you want. How fun would it be if I did this breakdown video and I just literally gave you like Vegas odds for every single division? I think the Rams, and even though I did give the Bears a generous record, 12-4, which is literally tied for the best, I think the Rams and the Bears are two teams that could underperform this season. We have the Niners at 8-8. They're solid, and they'll have an outright season, enough so that they'll be optimistic next year that they can compete in the division. And Cardinals, they do have Kyler Murray, but still a bizarre head coach hire in Cliff Kingsbury, garbage offensive line still. They need another draft or two to really build up that roster. So that's how I think that the divisions are going to go. I give you all these playoff teams: Eagles, Patriots, Bears, Saints, Texans, Packers, Chargers, Chiefs, Seahawks, Falcons, Ravens, and Browns. So from that, we're going to our award winners. And for your MVP, I'm going Carson Wentz. Much like having the Eagles tied for the best record, probably got to get a lot of eye rolls right now, but much like the Eagles, Vegas, non-biased people have Eagles being a legitimate contender to have the #1 record and go and win a Super Bowl. And a lot of people, NFL Network, I think Wentz was like almost the consensus MVP favorite. It's just, obviously I'm going to back my dudes. I can't see any way that Carson Wentz, if he plays a full 16 games this season, isn't at minimum top 5 in the MVP race. The year he almost won MVP, we have more talent than when we had that season. He's more, veteran. He's more of a veteran. He's hopefully going to throw less potentially interceptable balls, which could be the big downside to him right now, big criticism. So I'm going Carson Wentz for my MVP. Eye rolls. I know you're getting so many eye rolls. For Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go against the grain. Logic says, Aaron Donald getting his 3rd award. He's so good, man. He's so good. So just to be different, I'm being different for the sake of being different because Aaron Donald should probably win the award. I'm going to go with Dark Horse here. And I'm going to go on the Atlanta Falcons defense. Give me Deion Jones. Since the first time since 2013, a actual linebacker, because Khalil Mack's classified as a linebacker, but come on, he's an edge, is going to win the award. I think you're going to have the Falcons make the playoffs, and Deion Jones is going to be insane. I think Deion Jones is going to be a guy that puts up like damn near Darius Leonard numbers, if not better. 150 tackles, couple, double-digit TFLs, 15 TFLs, couple sacks, 4 or 5 picks, somewhere in that territory. Going a little different here. Deion Jones, as of right now, is my Defensive Player of the Year nod. Looking at Offensive Rookie of the Year, I just think there's going to be way too many opportunities for Kyler Murray to not, to win that award in comparison. Who else is there really? Josh Jacobs? Don't think so. For Defensive Rookie of the Year, maybe a little bit of a dark horse. I'm not seeing his name here a whole lot if you're looking at lists and stuff like that. I'm going to go with the young, talented linebacker on the Steelers defense, Devin Bush. I think he could almost have like a Darius Leonard season. I like the fact that my adopted son, Darius Leonard, is now becoming the gold standard for linebacker production. But I can definitely see Devin Bush being like top 5 in total tackles in the National Football League. He is built and designed for that Steelers defense. And the one preseason game he had was his debut. He had like 12 or 13 tackles, something ridiculous. It's only going to get more like that. And he's low-key an underrated blitzer. So I could see him very easily getting, double-digit TFLs, 5, 6, 7 sacks like Darius Leonard. So give me Devin Bush for my Defensive Rookie of the Year. So let's finish this video up with my playoff predictions and crown us the Super Bowl champion. So for the playoffs, here is how I have it breaking down. Starting wild card weekend, I have the Chargers over the Browns, the Falcons upsetting the Seattle Seahawks, Chiefs over the Ravens, and Saints over the Packers. Going into the divisional round, I have the Chiefs finally being able to topple the New England Patriots. They're not going to have D4 jump off sides. They're actually going to be able to get the job done. Eagles, for whatever reason, have the Atlanta Falcons number, so I have Philly at home, just beating the Falcons yet again, a deja vu of Philly Super Bowl year. I have the Chargers beating the Texans. Philip Rivers finally does something in a playoff game, doesn't cost his team the game. And then I have the Saints knocking out the Bears 42-14. I mean, that's just what Madden said, but I think the Saints would beat the Bears in the playoffs. Going to the conference championship, I have the Chiefs knocking out the Chargers. Just too much firepower, and I mean, for whatever reason, I do not buy Philip Rivers as like a legitimate playoff quarterback. And Philly would have beat New Orleans if with undermanned last season. Alshon cut that ball. I'm never gonna bring that up on the channel again because Alshon's a beast. But this year, a fully healthy Philadelphia Eagles, we have the Saints number. We're finally gonna be able to get the monkey off our back. I don't know what our record is since I've been an Eagles fan. I think they're 0-2 or 0-3 against the Saints in the playoffs. They get the job done, setting up Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl with your winner being, you know who it is. You know who it is. We had Carson Wentz as the MVP. We had Philadelphia tied for the best record in the National Football League. You knew what was going to happen when you clicked this video. Your 2019-2020 Super Bowl champions gonna be the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's get it, baby. Enjoy the NFL season. I'm going to be dropping Eagles videos. We're going to be doing post-grade reactions, all that good stuff coming soon on top of, you know, the Raiders franchise, realistic rebuilds, regular rebuilds, everything in between. So as always, guys, hope you stick along with me for all the Eagles content, you know, for Eagle fans. It's awesome. People that don't like to watch the Eagles, sure, when they lose, you get a lot of enjoyment watching that. So subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. Hit that like button if you enjoyed and you think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Definitely hit that like button. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.